Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Anime King 3. And today I'm going to be giving you part 9 of What If Naruto Was Betrayed by Hagoromo. Remember to get this one to 200 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a direct descendant of the sage over on Anime King, guys. And enjoy. Link will be at the top of the description. Remember, if you're new and this is the first time you hear my voice and you enjoy the videos on both Anime King and Anime King 3, go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking about to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what is we begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as the group was currently facing off against Zabuza, as Zabuza had been reckless to throw his blade, and Naruto had been smart enough to catch it. As the battle started in a fury, but Naruto had his Byakugan activated as he was able to see certain things that he couldn't see. As despite the mist being filled with Zabuza's chakra, it didn't seem to affect Naruto that much. So with that they started a clash, as Kakashi got himself caught, as Naruto and the others had to free him, but that allowed Zabuza to get back his blade. As Kakashi decided not to hold back as he clashed with Zabuza violently. As Kakashi got the upper hand, but the Hunter Nin didn't arrive. As Naruto went in to attack the Hunter Nin, but he was stopped. When the Hunter Nin used the momentum to throw, send bond needles towards his teammates. As Naruto blocked it with a wind style jutsu. As Haku used that time to get away with Zabuza. As Kakashi told Naruto to not go after them. So with that they headed back. As Naruto has been berating Kakashi the entire time, as he stopped calling him Sensei, just call him Kakashi, as he's not worthy of it, he told him. As Naruto ended up fixing Kakashi's eye, Kakashi was surprised. Not even Tsunade back then could allow him to do something like this, as Kakashi was able to deactivate and activate the Sharingan like he was a Uchiha. As Naruto told him that he did not know how he did it, as they would need to have a long, serious talk once they get back to the village. So with the remaining time they used that time to train, they were a bit more advanced than he thought, as they already know the tree walking and the water walking exercise. So Kakashi went on to learn their affinities, as Mito had wind and water, Sasuke lightning and fire. But for Naruto, something strange happened, as he muttered the word Jubi after touching the paper, as he asked Kakashi where to get the paper from. It was from a tree in Take, a rather large tree. Naruto didn't know why he muttered Jubi. He didn't know why. But the paper turned silver before it just burst into nothingness. That was rather confusing. Not even Kakashi knew what that means, as Naruto was just continuing to be a mystery over and over again. As Kakashi was furious by the end of the day because he couldn't find his book, and Naruto had a rather mysterious smile on his face. So with that the remaining time went by, as Mito told him that she met a new friend in the forest, as none of them really argue or say anything about that, as Naruto just seemed to look a bit curious. So as the time went by, as Naruto was selected to stay behind to watch over the family as the group headed off, it was then that Tsunami was attacked by two of Goto's goons. As Inari tried to save his mother, but the man was going to slice him in half if he come too near, and that was when Naruto came in and quickly ended the battle, as he left too close behind, as Inari felt a bit of hope welled up into him, as he was going to do right and protect his mother. He believed that the shinobi, especially this boy Naruto, can help him, and they would protect the village. So with that, Naruto headed off to the battle scene. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the PlayStation Store for yourself. So what is it being this new episode? Drip. 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 Mito finally snapped her eyes open, confused to what is going on. As she looked around, she rubbed her eyes. Getting to her feet, she didn't know where she was. The place was rather dark, but she could see pipes going in all different directions. Drip. She snapped her head towards the source, where she saw a strange red liquid dropped on the ground. The thing sizzled as it burned the ground, but immediately the ground refixed itself. As Mito walked over, but she did not touch it. She then turned her head as she heard a small growl. Confused, she followed it, as she didn't know what was going on. The more she walked, the more it came back to her. As Mito stopped, she remembered now. They were on the bridge when they got attacked. That hunter name. As Mito couldn't believe it. Her feet had kept on walking despite her turmoil that she was going through. It was Haku. She had met Haku in the forest not too long ago, and she said that she was going to help her friend with some herbs. So that friend was Zabuza. Haku had trapped them into a dome, as Kakashi had went off to face off against Zabuza. She was using her chains. Haku, Miru's, kept on rebuilding, no matter how much time her chains break them. Haku fired off dozens of senbons after senbons, which embedded into their bodies. As she and Sasuke tried her best, but they could not get Haku because she kept on switching through the mirrors. Sasuke even awakened his Sharingan. That was when Haku apologized, as her images came into all of the mirrors as she fired senbons from all angles. She spun around and used her chains to block a large portion, but not noticing that Haku appeared behind her. Sasuke ended up jumping in the way and got impaled all over his body. As Mito watched him, she did not understand why would he do something like that. Why would he risk his life for her, as he told her to escape and run before she lost him. And then everything went black. "Come," said a voice. The voice was so soothing. Mito made her way, confused of where she was, until she came upon a hallway. As she paused, it was a chamber. But what she saw was bars. Metal bars. She then heard the voice. "So my jailer has finally decided to greet me after all this time." "Who are you?" said Mito. "Can't you tell?" the voice said. As it seemed like the thing, whatever was behind her, snorted. As Mito felt the breath as it blew her hair back. "I thought you'd be more wiser than that. You really not know who I am." "Where are we?" said Mito. "Well, perhaps this might help. At the moment we're currently inside your mindscape." That shocked Mito. My mindscape? If that was the case. As she saw them, two red-slitted eyes open. As if something snapped, light illuminated the cage. As he saw his body, deep, dark orange fur, 9 flowing tails flapping behind him. His face was crouched down. "You're the Kyuubi," she said. "That's right. Know that you know that. What will it be?" "Forcing me into submission to take my power." As Mito looked at the great beast, she was confused. "Why?" she said. The fox looked at her strangely. "Why would I do that?" she asked. "Because that is how all of you humans are like. Using us tailed beasts as weapons to further your goal. War, whatever it might be." "Well, you're wrong. I'm not gonna do that," she said. As she looked at him, "I know that we're kind of in a strange situation here, with you being stuck inside me. I know you wouldn't want to be stuck inside me. And I have went through a lot because of you. But it's done. And we'll have to live with it," she said. "Even after what you've done." The fox narrowed his eyes to her. "I know what you did to my parents." "Why? Why did you attack the village?" she asked. "I've always wanted to ask you that question. You seem like someone that had common sense. You seem like someone that has feelings. So why would you kill so many people?" As, surprisingly, the fox lowered his head even more. "I was not myself," he said. "What do you mean?" "Well, for what I can tell you right now, I was being controlled. As Mito looked at him, "You're being controlled by someone else? How I know you're not lying to me?" "Well, I guess you have to take my word for it, don't you?" Mito was confused once again. "Why are you acting this way?" she said. "I heard that you were supposed to be this great evil, but you're not at all." "Well, most of my rage and anger has been separated from me." "What do you mean?" "Given that you know who your parents are, that night where your father did the seal, to split me in half to seal me in you and your brother, I was placed inside of you, while my darker half, you can say, was placed inside your brother." "What? But my brother is not a Jinjulke." "Yes, that is rather strange. I can feel that there is no other connection of my other half, but his power still remained dormant in your brother. I still don't understand why myself. Because if something had happened in the ceiling, my other half should have returned to me my power. So I'm confused just as you." "So you're saying half of you were still inside my brother?" "Yes. But that is not the pressing issue at the matter. If you don't calm yourself, you will end up hurting the ones that you love." "What do you mean?" "At the moment, time is passing differently in here than the real world. But time is still passing barely by the second outside. You got angry. You forcefully withdraw my chakra from the bars. And it changed you. At the moment, you're not thinking rationally outside, and you need to snap out of it if you don't want to hurt your friends and your family." "What? What am I doing?" she asks. Meanwhile, outside, as Naruto touched down on the bridge, the first thing he noticed was Tazuna. As the man was unconscious, Naruto made his way over. As he looked at the man, he was still breathing. As Naruto saw a rather large ice dome. As Naruto was walking towards it, that is where the power was coming from. He had felt it ever since he made his way here. That power that felt, for some reason, well, right. It felt like he was calling out to him. Some strange unknown power that he didn't know of was calling him to come. As Naruto made his way towards the ice dome, placing his hand on it, he turned his head as he heard clashing off in the distance. Zabuza was still clashing with Kakashi. He then heard a roar. The entire ice dome shook violently. Naruto pulled back his fist. Smash! The entire thing shattered with force. As he stepped inside, they came upon a rather strange scene. Mito was crouched down. Bright red chakra was oozing from her body. In front of our girl was slowly getting to her feet. Her mask had been split in half. As she looked like she accepted her death. Mito didn't waste any time as she shot forwards, claws bare to slice the girl in half. And in that moment, Naruto moved. Back inside the mindscape. "How do I get out of here?" "Fix this," said Mito. "You have to focus. Focus on calming down," said the Kyuubi. As Mito started to focus as best as she could before she felt a hand placed on her shoulder as she turned. Big brother?" Mito was confused as Naruto was standing there right beside her. "What have you gone and gotten yourself into?" said Naruto as he looked at her. How are you here?" "Well, seems like this is your mind," said Naruto as he looked around. "But currently outside, we're making contact. Seeing that I'm stopping you from killing that girl. I know that isn't something that you want, right?" "No, I don't. But you need to calm down," said Naruto. "Calm down? I'm trying." "You're trying too hard. Simply release it," said Naruto. "I'm here now. Everything's gonna be okay." She took a deep breath. And the next second, Mito was gone. As Naruto stood there, the fox, focusing on him. "You know, you don't look quite scary behind those bars of yours. Look more like a pet." The fox wasn't saying anything at all, as his eyes were narrowed like he was focusing deep and dark on something. "Who are you?" he said. "What do you mean?" "I'm Mito's brother. The name is Naruto Uzumaki. Don't you know me?" being inside my sister so long, don't you have a presumption of the outside world? No. Naruto? You're Naruto Uzumaki? Yes. The fox looked at him rather shocked, before it was replaced with that normal look on the fox's face. Like nothing was there before. Well, you better go and help your sister. You know I'm surprised. Why would you care about my sister? I thought you were supposed to be this being of pure malice and hate. Well, I guess all of that malice and hate was placed inside of you. What do you mean, Naruto? Well, upon your birth, my chakra was split into two. Yin and Yang. Oh, dark and light, Naruto. So let me guess, you're the light. Correct. So that is why I wish for no harm to come to your sister. Because I genuinely see that she's a good person. But my other half was still inside of you. But I'm not a Jinchuriki, said Naruto. That's a strange part, said the fox. Well, I guess we can talk some other time, said Naruto. It's time I rid the world of some vermin. The moment Naruto said that, the fox's eyes narrowed even more. And with that, Naruto closed his eyes, he vanished in mindscape. The fox was supposed to be a being with unrivaled power when it comes to anyone in the elemental nations. After all, shinobis these days could not test the power of a nine-tailed fox. But the fox was sweating. Despite being a being made from construct of chakra, he was scared. Yes. Trying to put on a brave face, the fox was scared, terrified to what he just felt. Given that Naruto was inside the mindscape, the fox felt it. He felt the power residing inside of him, and he knew exactly who that was. And if he was ever to wake up, if he was ever to know exactly who he is, it seems like his memory was gone. If he was ever to regain those memories, if that thing, he couldn't call him a human, he was beyond that. Perhaps a god, a demigod. Naruto Uzumaki, as his father had told him about the legend of his brother that was sealed away, that if he was ever to return to this earth, no one, not even their progenitor, the 10th tail that they were split from, could stop him. This world would surely quake at the return of Naruto Uzumaki. Back outside, Haku was on the ground, as she was surprised. This boy had just came in and saved her life, as the girl was about to slash her throat, with her claws that now receded back. As Mito was panting, the strain of using the fox chakra for the first time being too much for her. As she was about to fall, but Naruto was still holding out her hand. Brother, Sasuke is... Naruto turned his head towards Sasuke, his eyes activating. He's fine. What? Remember what I told you she did to Zabuza? She did the same thing. Just hitting a few of his puncture points. Don't worry, he'll be fine. A big smile spread across Mito's face. At that moment they heard electricity cackling outside. Haku snapped her head to the side. Zabuza-sama. Haku! No, said Mito. As Haku gave Mito a look, seeming like she was sorry for all that she had done. Before her ice mirror formed, as Haku leaped inside it. Brother, she's gonna risk her life. Please, save her. Save her? She's the enemy, said Naruto. No, she's not. She's just someone who's broken, who thinks of herself as a tool. Please, save her, said Mito, as she fell unconscious. Naruto slowly placed Mito down, as he released a breath. Meanwhile, Zabuza was constricted by dogs, as they were biting into his flesh. It's the end of the line, Zabuza, said Kakashi, as his Sharingan is activated, lightning swirling and cackling off of him. As he shot forward, Zabuza could not move. But then it happened. An ice mirror appeared. Kakashi already shoved his hand forward for the momentum, so it was going to pierce right through Haku's chest, who emerged. She glanced back slightly as she gave Zabuza a smile. Zabuza's eyes narrowed for the briefest seconds But they shifted when something appeared beside Haku. Haku didn't have time to ponder or figure out what is going on as something slapped her across the face. She smashed right into the railing of the bridge, hitting her head as she fell unconscious. Pathetic, said Naruto. And my sister want me to protect you, someone who's so willing to risk your life, with no other partner in the way. Kakashi kept on going. Zabuza could not move as Kakashi's hand ripped right through his chest, destroying his heart. Blood instantly burst from his mouth as he died. No last breath or anything, he just died. As Kakashi let his hand loose and pulled it back. As Haku was unconscious, leaned up against a railing, which her body had smacked into her head, had hit on the side a bit. But she was not dead, just unconscious. As Naruto walked over, you know, I'll give you some props for this. As Kakashi looked at Naruto, well, I did got rid of the enemy. Well, if I hadn't showed up, you'd have killed that one. And for some reason my sister thinks that she's not all that bad. But you did defeat Zabuza. I guess you're not worthless as I thought. As Kakashi pouted, so you thought your sensei was worthless? You know that's really bad. Well, you let him defeat you so easily earlier. So does this mean you're gonna call me sensei from now on? Oh. Well, let me think, Kakashi, said Naruto. As Kakashi's eye twitched, clapping could be heard as the both of them turned. Wonderful, wonderful show. I must say, I thought that he would come on top, given his feared reputation. Zabuza, the demon of the mist. But there he is, lying dead, with his worthless companion. That bitch that nearly broke my arm, said Gato. Well, I see all we have here is some leaf shinobis. Knowing you people, you wouldn't want to just give up and leave, right? I'm afraid we can't do that, said Kakashi, as he got back to his feet. As his Sharingan was still activated. As I thought, you know, I would give you a hefty sum if you just turn around and leave, and pretend this never happened. Sorry, it's our mission. As I thought, said Gato. So I'm afraid that this is the end of the line, boys. He snapped his finger suddenly. Hundreds of bandits started to appear on the bridge, coming from boats, coming from out of the water. Alright boys, first one of you to bring me their heads, especially the bridge builder. I'll give you a 20% additional fee on what I'm already paying you. All of them chuckled crazily. Naruto, if this is any time for you to do something, well, strange, that is going to surprise me, this is your best time. You know, I don't think so, said Naruto. Kakashi blinked. What's that supposed to mean? Well, you've done your work so far and defeated Zabuza, and I haven't done anything yet. So you can also say that I'm a, well, weak student. But you never did. I wonder why. Do you have that much faith in your student? Well, of course I do have that much faith in my little cute Jennings. You know that makes you sound gay, right? Kakashi blinked. You know I don't mean it that way, right? Well, especially when you say it to me and Sasuke. But when you say that my sister is involved, you sound like a pedophile. And to make it worse, the mask. And you go around all day reading porn. Said Gato. Do you guys not realize you're going to die in a few minutes? Hey, can't you see us having a good conversation? From what I'm hearing so far, that's not a good conversation. Hey, where's the old man? Still unconscious in Naruto? Who? Kazuna? Yes, at the moment he is. Well, we can blame this on Gato and Zabuza. And Gato, what do you mean? I guess we'll have to spend another extra 2 weeks here, repairing the destroyed bridge. Well, it's not that, well, totally destroyed. Just a few tweaks here and there. Oh, it's gonna be in a few seconds, said Naruto. As he went through hand sign. You would want to shield your eyes for this, said Naruto. as Kakashi felt the fluctuation of power that Naruto was pulsing through his fingertips. As they were gathering, he had to immediately shut off his Sharingan as he blinked. In that tiny moment where he blinked, Naruto did something, as Kakashi did not notice. As he carried on with his jutsu though. Lightning release. Thundering Sparrow, said Naruto, as he placed his hand in X formation, as a pulse of lightning, as the thing was bright yellow, exploded from his hands, forming a giant sparrow bird. Before it shot forward, the bird screeched as it went straight up in the air, before it twists. The bandit's eyes went wide as he leaped off the bridge, the thing smashing down, before its body exploded. A massive explosional current went off in a bubble. Kakashi's eyes went wide as Naruto stepped in front of him and raised his hand. Naruto said Kakashi as he was about to grab out Naruto and throw him out of the way. But none of the sparks got through, as Naruto stood there. A loud screeching sound could be heard, as nothing got through to them and Haku though. As the cries barely last for a second, the bridge shook violently as many other sections fell off into the water. When Kakashi opened back his eyes after the intense bright light, the bridge that the men were standing on were gone. None of them remained. Yes, they were all just gone. Even the water below had been struck as it was still shocking. He understands now why they would have to extend their stay here. As Kakashi stood there, looking at Naruto as a breeze was blowing back his hair and his clothing. As Naruto then turned, as his hand was smoking, but it was perfectly fine. I guess that wrapped that up, said Naruto. In the loud explosion, Tazuna had finally woke up, as the man blinked, looking around the area, the destroyed area, before he screamed up on top of his lungs, "What the hell happened to my bridge?" Time skip. As Haku slowly blinked, she was confused. She didn't remember much, her head was still a bit giddy from what happened. As she blinked, she was lying on a futon. Her eyes fluttering open, she had to close them back because of the light. The window next to her was open. She shot out of bed though, sitting up. "Zabuza-sama," she said, before she felt a hand placed on her shoulder. "It's okay, you're somewhere safe now." As she turned, Mito? As Mito smiled at the girl. As Haku tried to remember what happened, the last thing she remembered was "Where's Zabuza-sama?" she said. "He's dead." As Haku turned towards a voice to see, the boy leaned up against the wall. The words returned her head. She started to tremble. He's dead? Yes, he's dead. As she turned towards Naruto, who was leaned up against the corner, as her body started to shake. As Haku looked at him to see if he was lying. "I'm sorry, but there's no evidence. His body got obliterated in a blast. Seems like Gato was going to betray you in the end." But Haku didn't hear that part. Only thing she heard was Zabuza was dead. Her hands felt limp at her side. "Then, I guess I have no more purpose." "Excuse me," she said, as she looked towards Naruto. "What? Could you please kill me?" "Haku, no," said Mito. As Haku then turned towards Mito. "Mito, given that it was brief, we became friends. You even told me that. You know you're too kind. But I'm not someone you should really be friends with. Given all the things I've done to your team, and I nearly end up hurting you to the point of no return when you thought I killed your friend. But it's fine, he's alright. You did that to not kill Sasuke. You spared him, right? So there's no reason for you to die. I don't want you to die." "I'm sorry, Mito, but without Zabuza-sama, I no longer have a purpose in this world. I no longer wish to live. So, would you kindly kill me?" she said. She looked towards Naruto. Naruto started to reach into his pouch. "Brother," said Mito. "What?" She asked for it. As she sent a glare his way. "Fine," said Naruto as he put his hands up. "Mito, I understand that you're trying to be nice," Haku said. Her voice sounded emotionless. "But I am really not your friend." As Haku then turned her eyes towards Naruto, she knew that he was overprotective, if you could say that at a rate, towards his sister. So the only way for him to kill her was... As Haku looked at Naruto, "If you don't kill me here and now, I will attack your sister, and the event and output of that none of us would like. Oh, trust me, if you even move a single inch towards her, I'll snap your neck regardless of the situation. So I dare you." As Haku looked at him, she did not fear death at the moment as she wanted that, but a hand then slapped across her face, stunning her. As she turned, "What's wrong with you? You really choose death so easily. You are not a tool. I tried to change you while we're in that ice cube. I try my best to let you understand that ninjas are not just tools to be used. I knew that you loved Zabuza. He was your master. He was the one that saved you. The vague impression I can get from what you've told me so far. But you can't just risk your life like this. What would he would have wanted? Do you think he would have just wanted you to just die like that after what happened? Do you?" asked Mito. Haku didn't know what to say. No, he'd have wanted to live on. Despite the circumstances which turned out to his death, you still have a life. A life to live on and choose a different path. Haku turned towards Mito fully. "I don't see any life without Zabuza-sama. I don't have a purpose in this world. You can find a new one. But trust me, it's not about being a tool." "Brother, I wish to speak to Haku alone." "What?" "Trust me, she's not gonna hurt me." As Naruto stood there, "I'm not going anywhere," he said. "Brother, no," said Naruto as he looked at her. As Mito was a bit surprised by his tone. "This girl is currently unstable. I know that you always want to find the best in people, but at the moment, I don't trust her one bit. And if I was too late to stop it from happening because I stepped outside, I'll never forgive myself for what happened. So I'm not leaving," he said. Mito looked towards him, but she realized it was final because he simply shut his eyes, not paying attention to her anymore. As Haku looked back at Mito, Mito sighed. She lowered her head. "Fine," she said. As she started to talk to Haku despite Naruto being there. As she wanted to find a way to, change the girl's mind. But she didn't want Haku to be focused on Naruto and thinking about the events that led up to Zabuza's death. Seeing that Mito said that it would be fine to not bind her. So Naruto wasn't taking any chances and leaving her alone. Time skip. Later that night, Haku was still acting like she lost everything. Well, she did. Seeing that Zabuza was everything to her. As she barely talked, despite Mito trying her best to cheer the girl up. As Mito was currently on the roof now, Haku was inside. They did not bind her. The girl had nowhere to go. She did not know what to do, but she wasn't willing to kill herself. She just stood there. As Mito sat down beside him, "I'm sorry." "For what?" Naruto asked. "I know you're just trying to protect me, but I thought I could, help her, but I'm sorry for making you get so angry." "You don't have to apologize," said Naruto. "Everything is fine." "No, I have to. Because I know you were talking about the right thing. She's still a bit unstable from what happened. And I know you wouldn't be able to live with yourself if I had done something to make you leave and she had done something stupid to me. And I wouldn't want you to go and change because of me." "Change?" said Naruto. "Well, you already act this way already." "What's that supposed to mean?" said Naruto. "Well, sometimes you don't really care about certain people's feelings, and sometimes you talk the way you want despite hurting people's behavior. But I don't do it to you, said Naruto. That's right, but other people. So I wouldn't want it to get worse. Do you think I'm some kind of ticking time bomb, said Naruto. Well, kind of, said Mito. As Naruto simply chuckled, as he held his heart. My own sister, he said. She punched him slightly in the arm. Come on, she said. You know I'm right. Well, you're wrong, said Naruto. I'm not the ticking time bomb. I just want to make sure that you're protected. After all, it's been me and you ever since the beginning, right? As she smiled, I guess you're right. As she hugged him as he hugged her back. Time skipped. A full month passed. As the bridge was completely total and it took a longer while to fix and get in new supplies, yes, cutting down wood and shaping them. But the group didn't mind. This was like a vacation. We got to no longer in the place and they having to pay tax. Things was getting better in the village so far. The remaining bandits that Gato had, knowing that the man had perished, they had run from the era, none of them coming back. As Kakashi was currently standing on the roof, it was finally time for them to leave. In the past month, strange things had happened. Several unknown eras around the land of Wave had been suddenly exploded. As Kakashi went to investigate to find out that, well, there were warehouses, where documents, and other things lie. But who could be doing this, as he had no idea. First he suspected Naruto, being the person who he is, but why would Naruto be doing something like this? Gato was dead, as Naruto Jutsu had made sure of that, which he was still curious about, which Naruto simply told him that he had no idea how he did it, which keep on pissing off Kakashi every single moment. But in the moment you just have to wait until they get back home, for Naruto to talk to the Hokage himself. As a thought came to Kakashi's mind as he jumped down, as he saw Mito standing there, and he looked at the other girl standing beside her, Haku, as Mito had demanded that they bring her back to Konoha with them. After all, sending her towards the Hidden Mist, where the Civil War was taking place at the moment, wouldn't be so wise. The girl was still a bit lost, so Kakashi wasn't sure if she would even make it there. But they could get her on the right track and bring her back to Konoha. That would be the best thing to do. Sasuke was leaning up against a wall, as he was rather bored. Well, he had a new fun tool to play with, and that was his eyes, non-stop activating and deactivating his Sharingan ever since he got them in that fight. As he had to be caught up with what happened when he first saw Haku, as he was quite shocked. Haku has changed a bit over the past month, not really to the point of forgetting and just going like nothing happened, but she was still in that mood. But she was a bit better. At least she was talking more to Mito. You guys ready? Said Mito, as all of them had their things back. As Mito turned towards Haku, who gave her a slight nod. She didn't see, well, where else she could go right now, so she was just going along with Mito. As Sasuke nodded as well. Mito, where's your brother? As Mito looked around, God damn it, she said. Meanwhile, as Naruto was whistling to himself, as he walked through a long, dark corridor, making his way inside the room, where he saw a big smile came to his face as he entered a room to see the treasures of Gato. Money. Piles and piles of money stacked up. The only reason why Naruto knew about this was because of what he did on the bridge. In that split second when Kakashi had closed his eye, Naruto had created a clone that had, well, sunshine away with Gato. After getting what he wanted from the man, well, the information. After all, Gato was a rather wealthy man. It never be too bad to have more money. And Naruto was completely relishing, as currently inside of the small safe, as there has been a lot of them, where he has completely burned down once he completely drained everything dry. There were currently 5 men in here. 5 bandits as he could see. Seemed like they had found the location as well. What the hell's that kid doing here? It seems like these guys doesn't know about the battle or anything because they don't know Naruto. Oh, I'm here for all of that, said Naruto. Can't you see that this is our day, ours, kid? No scram, before you get hurt. As Naruto sighed, when will you people ever learn? Don't underestimate someone because of it. Naruto collapsed to his knees as once again he was assaulted by, what the hell? As he dropped back, the man started to laugh. Can't he finish a proper statement? What kind of stupid kid is this? As Naruto was seeing that staff, a strange staff in his vision, as he backed up against the wall, his eyes narrowing and receding back. Flashback. A long time ago, both brothers Hamura and Hagoromo were making their way. As this was after they had sealed away their mother and Naruto had woke up. There was a, period of pure peace before Naruto found out about them, giving humanity the ability to use chakra. As Naruto came back, as he had a big smile on his face. "I guess you did something new," said Hagoromo. "You bet I did," said Naruto, as he held up a staff. As Hagoromo looked at him, "I already have a staff," he said. "Well, this is a lot different than yours," said Naruto catch. As Hagoromo reached out to catch the staff, the moment it landed right in his palm, his hand smashed into the earth, shocking the hell out of him. What is that?" Hamura asked. "Well, something that only..." Naruto raised his hand and his staff fly back towards him as he caught it. "I can manipulate." The staff was long, a black staff, as the tip had a rather unique curve towards it, making it look like a fork with 3 points at the end. Each of those points had a Megatama bead on it that jingled the slightest bit. "And how do you do that?" asked Hamura. "Well, I use my eyes. It seemed my creation over all things is quite great and yearns, Hagoromo." As Hagoromo scoffed at that. "And what makes you think so?" "Well, how about we give it a test, shall we?" Hamura shook his head. "The last time you guys did a test, you nearly tear down the entire mountain. Come on, this one isn't going to be so bad. Let's just say for the entire day." The civilians had been cowering because they think that the entire world is going to end. Because this morning they heard some loud earthquakes as the earth was shaking violently and breaking. Few years passed after that, to the event where the battle was over and Naruto sealed away. As Hamura looked down at the staff. "Brother, what about this?" "Well, Hagoromo tried to pick it up, but he still couldn't move it. It seems it's gonna have to stay here. This can be a sight to what happened here." As Hamura nodded, as the time went by, rock formation built and stones erupted, creating new platforms over and over and over. Houses built, nations rise, statues built, till the heinous stone firmly stood right on top of the staff. And to who must the staff reside? Right under the tower of the one and only Tishikage. End of flashback. Currently, Oniki was currently in his office as he was sitting down behind his desk, going over a few mission reports. As things has been going rather well lately, when the place started to shake, Kurosaki was on the couch, looked towards him. "Hey old man, what's that?" As Oniki narrowed his eyes, thinking that this was an attack of some sort. "I don't know," he said as he looked around. Kurosaki then looked down. Underneath, she said. They didn't have time to ponder as something suddenly burst from the ground. As it seemed like it has been going on for a long while, it ripped through the ceiling without hesitation and flew off. Envoys were already in the office, as they were stunned and confused, as they looked at Tishikage and Kurosaki, who didn't seem to know what happened. The staff then flew. Speeds that most people couldn't even comprehend this ninja world. It ripped through the air, back towards the hidden wave, as one of the bandits went forward, as he reached forward to grab Naruto by the hair. But despite being in this state, Naruto was still fully aware of what is going on around him. And the moment the man's hand was 5 inches away from his face, Naruto lashed out and grabbed it, twisting the man's arm as he winced in pain. "You brat!" as he pulled back his other fist. The wall then suddenly broke, as the man cried out in pain, gargling for air, as the staff had ripped right into his throat. The thing twists and the man's head snapped to the side before his body collapsed to the ground. The staff then stood beside Naruto, just standing there. Naruto got to his feet as he held on to it. The moment he did, he felt a rush of power coursing through him. Something strange. What the hell? He said. As he looked at the staff in his arm, one of the men then rushed forward. That's it, brat. You're gonna Naruto swing his hand. A massive blade of air ripped right through the tip of the staff. The man froze as he stepped back, confused at what just happened. His other friends also not saying anything. But the moment he stepped back too much, his legs gave out underneath him. They were severed. The man cried out in pain before he noticed. Blood exploded from his upper and lower half as the thing had sliced him 3 times. His body pieces dropped into the earth. Naruto twirled the staff in his hand as this just felt natural, something that he was used to before he pointed forward. A bolt of lightning exploded from each tips, incinerating the other 3 inside, without even hesitation. Whoa, said Naruto. Time skip. Whistling could be heard. You know, I was just about to come and find you. What was taking you so long? Asked Kakashi. And where were you? He said. You know, I was taking a walk on the road of life. I can see why you enjoy it now, said Naruto. Kakashi eye twitched at Naruto used back one of his same verbal ticks against him. Can we get out of here already? Said Sasuke, as he really wanted to go home to get some more training to focus on these eyes of his. As they made their way at the gate, the people of Wave were gathered. All of them, big smiles on their faces, as Inyeri shouted, "Thank you all for all that you've done for us," he said, as Mito came over, as she ruffled the boy's hair. Despite most kids not liking that Inyeri smile, and he blushed a bit, as she was quite cute. I told you that we would get rid of Gato, and now the village hidden in the wave is free. As everyone shouted in cheers. Well, Tazuna, it took a bit longer than we expected, but everything is up to date at the moment, isn't it? Said Kakashi. Well, yes it is. And I want to thank you all again for helping me. All of you for risking, despite what I did. No big deal, said Naruto. Just remember, you owe us. What does he mean? Asked Nami. Oh, nothing, just a few dealings between friends, isn't it? Yeah, said Naruto. Well, thank you all, said Nami, as the group started to cheer them. I guess it's time we head out, said Mito as he headed off. Hey, what should we name the bridge? I already picked out a name, said Tazuna. Huh? What is it? Asked Nami. It's gonna be called Lord Naruto. The Lord Naruto Bridge. What? Lord Naruto? Oh wait, that's the kid that killed Gato, isn't it? Yeah, Naruto is his name. I thought you would have named it, well, Team 7 or something like that, said Neri. Well, let's just say I owe the kid. But it's a fitting name after all. He's the one who got rid of Gato. The people started to cheer once again, as that was true. On their way back, Kakashi was feeling different. Not having his head stuck in a book all day, he was taking in the sights all around him. Kakashi blinked. Naruto, what's that? As Mito turned towards him. Seriously? Sasuke turned as well. Seriously? Even Haku blinked in surprise. Wait, you're telling me that you just now noticed that? Asked Mito. I thought your head not being a book all day, you would have noticed things a lot easier, but... Man, Sensei, she said. AI smiled, with both eyes. Oh, well. So, Naruto, what is that thing? I was just asking him. You know? I don't know, said Naruto. Kakashi eye twitched violently once again. You know, that's always been your answer for every single thing that we asked you so far. Well, me. Oh. I don't remember, said Naruto, as Kakashi's hand reached dangerously towards his kunai pouch. You know, Kakashi, A wise man once told me, once you're in your moment of bliss, you should just pass on and go along with your life. Because, in a snap, everything can be taken away. Given for example your books. I mean, you go and do something stupid, and the next time you buy another stacks of books, they end up getting burned for some reason. So I'm just saying, said Naruto. You know he's the one that took your books, right? Said Sasuke. Whatever do you mean? Asked Naruto. Despite what has happened so far, Haku didn't know why. But being around these people felt different. Not different bad, but just different. Being with Zabuza, they was always on the run, running away from ninjas from here. As Zabuza had went after the Mizukage, so they wanted him back, to kill him of course. But being here with him, these people now, and her friend, yes, Mito told her to call her that, she's our friend after all. It felt so different. As she shook her head, she just decided to just go along with it and see where it shall take her, even though she was still not fully comfortable, and she has still not fully accepted what has happened yet. A long bickering on the way back, as she found out that Naruto and Kakashi just love to, well, attack each other on different occasions about different things. And through the whole interaction, he never did get to answer where Naruto exactly got that staff from. Yes, Naruto just kept on twisting things until Kakashi ended up, well, just discarding the question altogether. And he didn't even realize that. As Haku realized how twisting and manipulative Naruto was. And on the entire way, Mito tried to get her in a conversation as well, like calling out to her, speaking her name, just to get her involved. The girl was really trying hard to make sure that she was not left alone and lonely. Could someone really be this nice? Meanwhile, Mito was thinking, recently she has been going to visit the fox inside her stomach. She was a bit surprised how he acted. He was nothing like what people said he was supposed to be. He was kind, he was gentle, soft. Well, that was rather strange to say that towards a beast that could flatten mountains with just a swing of their tail. But he was. As she hasn't told her brother that she has visited him more than one time. But he doesn't seem to, well, have any ill will against her. But her brother told her that she was trusting, too trusting. But she will just have to see for now. As the group made their way towards Konoha, after such a long mission, as they made their way straight towards the Hokage's office, as Hiruzen looked up and smiled when he saw them, as he saw Naruto enter with a staff in his arm. Before Kakashi, I was twitching violently. Hiruzen blinked in surprise. Kakashi's eyes were twitching violently. Kakashi? As Kakashi turned towards Hiruzen, what happened in the mission? He asked. Well, Hokage-sama, a lot of things happened. As you can see from my, well, yeah, said Kakashi as he pointed towards his face. Let me guess. Kakashi nodded as he turned towards Naruto. Meanwhile, back at the hidden wave, as something emerged from the ground towards the battle site near the bridge. It was none other than Black Zetsu, half out of the ground as he watched. He was just looking at the area where he felt it. He has been searching the world for that power once again, and it was here. He quickly made his way. Zetsu found himself in a dark space as he made his way underground. When he emerged, the place was scorched, like the place had been burned. As he noticed a crack on the wall, it wouldn't look different to any other cracks on the wall, but he could feel it as his black hands roamed over it. How is this possible? He said. To think that this is a reality. Is he really here? As this was just making his suspicions confirm. He has to know. And with that, he sank back in the ground. But guys, it'll be in this episode right here. If you want the next part, this is what to do. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.